Welcome, everyone. We love the fact that you've made it to join us today. I'm excited. Obviously, I've been waiting for this moment for a year because we did it last year and it went so well. If you could, in the chat, just tell us if you attended last year's session for this same day. You attended last year's session. Put a Y or, just let us know in the chat. Okay, it doesn't look like many people attended last year's, which is great because you get to, this isn't last year's presentation, but you get to hear some great stuff. And I'll try to keep it within the time constraints. Obviously, I gave some instruction up front about what's needed today. So if you haven't already, go get a leaf. It can be a dry, crusty brown leaf or something that's freshly fallen. You can also, at the same time, get a dollar bill. It can be any size dollar bill. And so I want you to get that. We're gonna commence with a quick 10-minute exercise, and then we'll get going with some other things. But before we do that, I think I'm joined by Victoria Saunders. Victoria, if you're here, can you put your camera on and we'll cue up the presentation.
I'm here. I can't put my camera on right now, but I'm here. Hi, everyone.
All right. So welcome to CPD and E Day 2020. We're session 3 of the workshops. Today's topic is a journey in financial resilience, why COVID-19 can't steal your joy or your financial security. You're going to learn quite a bit. This is going to probably be one of the most interactive things you do all day. And my name's Heath Kerlock. I'm an alumnus of the institution from 2001-2002 era. And I'm an accredited financial counselor and a certified financial coach. I'm also a project management professional. And I'm really glad that you've taken the time to attend today. Victoria Saunders and I run the Financial Empowerment Center. Victoria is the site coordinator. And the best part about the Financial Empowerment Center is the grant that we're on through the United Way of the National Capital Area, which was powered by SunTrust. And today, obviously we're at the end of that grant cycle and got some more money this year from the United Way. I'm going to turn it over to Victoria Saunders, who's going to continue.
Yes, so thank you everyone for joining us. So I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of what the Financial Empowerment Center does. So we, as Heath said, we are a grant-funded program through the United Way of the National Capital Area. We provide free services to the community as well as students, faculty, and staff of Prince George's Community College. So you do not have to be a student or a staff member to take part of our services. We're open to DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So that's one great thing about us. And some of the things that we hope to achieve for the students and the community members is to help them improve their credit, increase savings, decrease debt, and increase use of financial products. Some of those services that helps us in those areas are, we have financial coaching services. So that means if you're interested in like building a budget, creating a savings plan, just being better with your personal finances, you can have a one-on-one coach. As it states, everything is completely free at the Financial Empowerment Center. So you don't have to worry about paying anybody, but we have professional people. Even though we're free, we have professional people assisting us in the areas of financial coaching. We do small business coaching. So I know a lot of us have started creating businesses during this time of COVID. So if you need help, if you want, just a sounding board, someone to help you and listen to your ideas, we have small business coaching. We have credit improvement solutions. We are still doing taxes. So if you need to have your 2019 taxes done or anything prior, as far back as 2016, we can still assist you. We also partner with local housing counselors in the area to provide home buying and major purchasing counseling. And then we also have financial education workshops similar to what we're going to go through today, but we have other workshops, that we do weekly and daily at the center. Heath?
So what we have here is a glimpse of pre-COVID times and hopefully post-COVID times. There will be a time we call post-COVID-19. And you can join us freely for any of those. We work with student groups and organizations. We do a small business mindfulness coaching session, and we have a special presenter for that each time, Carolyn Yeager. Obviously, in the virtual context, you can still participate with us. Our #1 RSVP, highest rated RSVP program ever is took place yesterday and today. There's a part 1 and part 2. Feel free to join us if you're interested. Just email me. Victoria can put the FEC and my personal email in the chat very quickly. But I really do think you'll enjoy a lot of the program offerings. People walk away all the time just exuberant, excited. Victoria?
Yes, and if you are on social media, please follow us. A lot of our workshops and our programs are on actually our Facebook page. So you can search for us under @FECPGCC. And then for more information on our upcoming events and our services, you can go to the college's website, pgcc.edu/go/FEC.
So, a journey in financial resilience, which is why you're here. Today we covered the overview or the greeting, and we're doing the overview and intro. And we'll start the money mindfulness meditation by Dr. Joya Chilton, a former employee of the college who we had a great relationship with her prior to her departure. And she even pitched in for today, and we're gonna play that for you. MoneyHabitudes exercise, we're gonna get to that. And then we'll have our closing financial resilience PowerPoint presentation, which I think will keep you in good spirits and fired up. All right. So the money mindfulness meditation, mind over money. This will help you break the ice within yourself in regards to money. This will free up. So if you haven't already, please, and I'll take 30 seconds, but go grab a leaf and then grab some quantity of dollar bill. This happens to be the $50 bill, Ulysses S. Grant, of course. But go grab a leaf and some measure of dollar bill, and we'll begin momentarily. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Give me a Y if you're ready in the chat. Give me a Y. All right, so we got a lot of folks who are ready. If you cannot hear the audio, please let me know. I'm going to put myself on mute for the time being. You'll hear the voice of Dr. Joya Chilton.
To the leaf that you have in front of you. And look at this leaf closely. It's a natural object that may often be overlooked. So today, let's take a different approach to it. Using your breath to help you anchor into the present moment. Observe the leaf. So turn it over and explore it with some of your senses. Can you feel it? Is there parts that are rougher or smooth? Take a moment to just be with this leaf, with the colors, the different colors, this pattern or shapes on the leaf, the lines. Notice the texture. And perhaps there's a sound you can notice. Maybe you can even detect an aroma from the leaf. And notice the thoughts that this leaf stirs up within you. What are you thinking as you notice this leaf? And do these thoughts stir up any feelings? Noticing how you're doing in this moment as you observe this leaf. Nature is connected here to a larger natural system. And see if you can bring your mindful attention to your feelings, moment by moment, as you experience this leaf. Be present to it. And take note of any thoughts or feelings related to the preciousness of this leaf, this one leaf. Might we give such attention to other experiences we have in life, our interactions with others? This leaf is one of the little things in life, and little things matter. And now let's turn and take a moment to look at the dollar closely. It's an object about the same size as the leaf, maybe a little larger or smaller. It might stir up many thoughts and feelings. Let's take a mindful approach to it, using your breath to help you anchor into the present moment. Observe the dollar. Turn it over and look at it deeply. Take a moment to be with it. Notice all the detail of the images. Notice any sounds the dollar makes. Maybe you can detect an aroma from the dollar. Notice what are the thoughts this dollar stirs up in you. What are you thinking as you notice this dollar? And do these thoughts stir up any feelings? Bringing your mindful attention to your feelings. Just noticing them moment by moment as you experience this dollar. Take note of any thoughts and feelings related to the preciousness of this $1. And once you become aware that your mind has gotten caught up in a story or an idea or lost in thoughts and emotions, in that moment, you're no longer caught up in that story. Come back to just experiencing the changing nature of the mind states. Reflecting and noticing any thoughts and feelings related to this $1. And then you can set the dollar down you are able to be mindful regarding how and when to allocate your resources, be they inner resources, financial resources, personal resources, spiritual resources. Know you have abundant resources that grow and expand. And as we close, again connecting in to this moment of mindfulness, and congratulate yourself on practicing this meditation, and know that it's contributing to your health, wealth, and well-being. Begin to stretch.
All right. I'm so grateful you all participated in that exercise. I'd like for a couple of you very quickly, we're going to do a few moments reflection. Let's hear from 2 or 3 people about what you were thinking during that meditation. I hope you were able to have a leaf and a dollar bill of some quantity. But please, someone, take yourself off mute. Tell us what thoughts went through your head.
If the dollar, to me, meditating was just a ways to means to an end.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about that, Wendell.
The dollar, it's just like a tool, like a butter knife, a fork, a car, anything else. It's a ways, it's a means, to ways to an end. For me, I just think about the bills. I don't have that many, but I mean, it just what it meant to me in my past. $1 meant a lot when you were struggling. But now, it's just something that's in my wallet. I have as much as I need in there to get me through the day of whatever I have to do.
Perfect.
For other people means other things.
Perfect. So a little feedback on what Wendell just said. He mentioned the word enough. And throughout this dynamic with having a leaf and a dollar, couple thoughts that I've written down, and please, you're welcome to write thoughts down. I'm going to have you enter something into the chat in a second about it. But when you think of a tree at its peak, right at the end of spring, a tree has its leaves. A tree has that abundance of leaves, right? And here we sit with one leaf and one type of dollar bill, whatever it is. It can represent many dollar bills, but in a sense, the idea is that you're physically touching and connected to this leaf right now, and then you're physically connected to this dollar bill. And when this leaf was flourishing, it flourished with many other leaves, right? And so the idea is to get to a point where you're flourishing with many other dollars. And you do that obviously through the general techniques of income, planning your money, making sure that the budget fits, and then also going after your savings goals, having aspirations, and then the trajectory after there, having great control over your spending, having great control over how much you borrow and go into debt, having great competence about what you invest in, whether that's flipping houses or whether that's mowing extra lawns or doing extra nails or driving extra Uber shifts to do Uber Eats or just Uber taxi, right? So we need to find ways to generate income, invest in ourselves, and be in abundance of this. So great reflection there, Wendell. I'll take one more person before we end this segment. Someone else, tell me what that contrast meant to you.
This is Kyle. I would definitely agree with Wendell. I wasn't fortunate enough to have $1. I did have a quarter. However, and just using the quarter that I had, it was very central. I was able to make a connection with it. It was a feeling of calmness, because, when we are able, when we are to have the money when we need it, we feel a lot more secure. So that was definitely appreciated.
Wonderful, wonderful. Another point about Dr. Joya's articulation there, and this goes to Cal's point, is that money has value. Cal talked about using a quarter for the exercise. I'm using a $50 bill. But one of the things she had us do was turn the dollar over, look at it, study it, right? And when you do that, you see value. This doesn't have a lot of monetary value. But what's interesting is, in terms of the life of a tree, if you take its leaves away, the tree can't survive. And when you see an old, ugly, dead tree, it's one of the ugliest sights, right? You want to cut that tree down, get rid of it. A bad storm comes, tumps it over, it falls down, causes great chaos, right? But we want to get to a place where we understand the value of this to us. Because having a lot of these, imagining that these were our leaves and we're the tree, right? We're the vine in that case. We're the vine. Our values, our ability to get occupationally well, that's the vine that grows more of these. And then as we mature with money and we evolve with those financial solutions and become more ready, and we plan things out and we're in a position of readiness to absorb different emergencies or different life happens moments, we get to a place where we can be restorative and grow this back, or substitute this, or supplant it from savings, right? So just a few other notes and then we'll be done. The topic today is financial resilience. When you study your leaf, right? When you study your leaf, these items have been quite resilient, and they're just falling down after all of the thunderstorms and tropical storms and the F5, F3 tornado that came a few weeks ago. After all these events have happened, these leaves held on until just now. And so leaves, by their very concept, are resilient. Why shouldn't we be resilient with our leaves? And so that's what we're going to explore today. Now I'm going to put in the chat, we're going to do one more exercise. It's called the MoneyHabitudes Online exercise. And I hope you're enjoying today's presentation. But we're going to put this exercise in. This is going to take you, some people it'll take 5, 6, 7 minutes. Some people it'll take 8, 9 minutes. I'm going to give you a few minutes to complete this. You're just going to put your email address, and you're going to put your name, and you're going to create your own password. You're going to sort of own the space to this. Give me one moment and I'll give you the link. But the MoneyHabitudes exercise is an activity to help you explore your attitudes, beliefs, and opinions toward money. And so the item is in the chat, CPDE. What I'd like for you to do is go ahead and click on that link that's in the chat, create your own account, and go ahead and complete the exercise. Again, I think you're really going to enjoy that. And we'll talk about it on the other side. While you're doing the exercise, don't think you're missing anything. I'm going to let you complete it. So go ahead and go to the link that's in the chat. Create an account by putting in your name, email address. I see Leslie Lee is saying, what if we have taken it once? That's a good question, Leslie. And so what I want you to do is then log in. So it should give you an opportunity when you go to that link, Leslie, to log in. I want you to just read over your results. So one of the best parts about the MoneyHabitudes activity is it's going to give you a report about you. The only thing I require in this activity is that you tell the truth about yourself and don't feel any pressure to impress. Okay, Omalade, right. But don't feel any pressure to impress. You're just telling the truth like it is about yourself. And if you do that, it's going to give you the best report back about ways and solutions that you can use to improve your skills. So go ahead and do that. And if you've already done it before, I see one person has done it before, what I like for you to do is it'll give you the opportunity to log in, see if you can get to your report and analyze it. If you can't, it seems like Omalade is the only one, just let me know. And everyone in the room, including Matthew Lloyd, is able to take this. So I suggest you take it, and we'll reconvene in about 7 or 8 minutes. While you do that, I'm going to be talking annoyingly. You might put me on mute, and that's okay, but take me off mute in about 7 or 8 minutes. But for those who want to tune in, you know, money is on a spectrum, and that spectrum begins with income. And income is an incredible thing to have. And how do we achieve income? We achieve income with education, with expertise, and with experience, and with employment. Even if you're a contractor, you're looking to get the contracted job. And so income comes from somewhere. And of course, they put in these new areas for gambling and such in the county. I don't suggest you do that, but I know some people have that streak in them and may have family members with that streak in them to go and gamble and do the slot machine and all of that. Be wise, be mindful, plan if you're going to do that, plan out how much you're going to spend. Don't go there and spontaneously erupt and spend yourself out of house and home. And obviously we can get income from gambling and from lotteries and from inheritance and from also from, you know, more negative instances, right? A malpractice lawsuit. We can get income from a car accident. If another driver was at fault. We can get income from being part of a clinical trial. Some people underestimate that, hey, if I participate in this study, I might get, you know, $2,000 or something like that. There's a wonderful website called clinicaltrials.gov. It's by the United States government, NIH, FDA, and such. And you're able to participate in those studies. Obviously, you know, studies come with consequences sometimes. The item that's being studied may have a deficiency, and it could cause harm or death. And so just because it's a study and it seems like a way to go doesn't mean that that's the best way to go. But those are some novel ways to make income. People also make income from small business ownership, from selling a business, from buying a business and then turning it into a revenue generating operation, or from, you know, purchasing a franchise, becoming a franchisee. So there are multiple ways to make income. It's not just bound to a 9-to-5 employment aspect. You might make income from royalties and can do things like that. There's a wonderful talk that I give on 12 superior ways to make money during COVID-19 crisis. And I'll rattle off a few of those. If you're any good at tutoring, there's some wonderful sites where you can go and become a professional tutor and make money over the interface of the internet and help others in their English courses, help others in their math, the higher maths, and areas like that. So income is definitely something that's achievable, that's doable. And all I'd suggest is, if you want more ways to make money, just visit us. I'll also have Victoria put into the chat the coaching link. That'll be something that you might want to sign up for, and we may get to in a few moments. And so if you're just joining us, we are working on the online MoneyHabitudes site. It's a little sort of self-assessment where you want to be completely honest with yourself, forthcoming, tell the truth about you, right? And make sure that as you do that, it's going to give you a report back that's going to give you some tools and approaches to making a better you, helping you with your financial evolution, helping you with your financial revolution, and helping you with your certain peace that you might have when you approach that as well. So income is the first, that's like level 0 to the conversation on money. That's the foundational aspect. I was reading a book recently, and we're letting someone else in, but I was reading a book recently, and it was one of the best approaches to a table of contents I've ever seen. Most of us are familiar with books where it talks about, preface, and then forward, and then introduction, and then, that's how most books go. This book did all that. Yeah. This book started, though, chapter-wise, it started with chapter -1. I just thought that was the best, like, that was so dope, That book started with chapter -1, and then it went to chapter -1 went to chapter 0. I mean, that's amazing. And so with money, I said, you know what? When we think about money, income can be considered chapter 0. Your skills, your beliefs, your wellness, your fundamental attributes, all of that's chapter -1, right? You bring that into your financial self. And income is the beginning of any conversation about money. Once you get past income, though, you get into planning. And mostly when we talk about planning, we're talking about cash flow, we're talking about budgeting, right? We're talking about the thoughts we have about how much our goals mean to us and what goals we're going after. We have a wonderful document at the center called the Life Aspirations Assessment. And that one document helps you focus on what are your aspirations, and it helps you delineate them. Are they aspirations that you've already done? Are they aspirations you're currently doing? Or are they aspirations that are 3 to 6 months out? Are they, a year to 3 years out? Are they 3 to 5 years out? Or are they like 6 to 10 years away or more? And, we do programs sometimes, and it's good to attend programs that you cannot attain or demonstrate currently. For example, like I said, later today at 5:30, we're doing basically a 2-hour broadcast on turn yourself into a business. Now, you think for a second, there are 200 RSVPs for that. 200 people RSVP'd for that. You think I believe for a second that everyone is going to be able to turn themselves into a business? Absolutely not. And I don't suggest everyone turn themselves into a business. In fact, it's better to learn about the steps people have to take to get to that point before you even consider it. And so I definitely enjoy the people who come and they say, I'm really not going to turn myself into a business. I'm really not going to try to charter a business right now or form a sole proprietorship or an LLC, but I just want to listen in. That's the type of person that I want to deal with. Those are the people I respect, because it takes a setup to complete a setup, right? And then you go from being counted out to being counted on. And that conversion happens when you put yourself in place. And the best physical analogy that I can talk about, and I'm getting some sunlight, so sorry if it's going to be a distraction if you see the glare in the shade, but the best physical articulation on this is like in football, when they punt the ball on 4th down. When they punt the ball on 4th down, there's a guy way, way back there who's going to catch the punt. But if he's on the wrong side of the field, the ball's going to land over there, and he's not in position to even return the ball. You might call a fair catch right now. That may be what you have to do in life right now, is call a fair catch and have no return. But sometimes you want to get up under that ball, get it, and run with it. At some point, you're going to have that skill set, that strength, right, to do that. So planning is step 2. Step 3 in money is savings. And step 4 is spending. And a lot of people get in trouble with steps 3, and 4. If you can't save money and you're living beyond your means, then it spells trouble. And so, and if you're an emotional spender, hopefully you all are figuring that out. Some people are talking about how they got their report already. That's good. So what I want you to do is you begin to finish up, just go back to the chat and put a Y, just so I know, or just write done or something like that. Let me know that you completed the activity. And as you do that, we will progress because we're wrapping up. We're coming down to the wire. So I see a number of people have completed it. Congratulations, you got a report. Now, what I want you to do is think about what that report is really going to talk about. And that's where you want to follow up with me or the certified people on my team, right? And we can situate that. If you just want to follow up with me, I understand that. So the way you do that is you can either email me, and I'll put my email in the chat. I don't know if everyone was able to see that earlier. And then I'll also put in the chat the coaching link, and you can sign up, and everything we talk about is confidential. I'm bound by ethics rules. So don't worry about, how that won't happen on my watch. So everything we talk about is between us and your session. And the way you get to do that is just sign up at this link. You can open it now and fill it in later, but we're going to proceed. Now I want to hear from at least one person who's completed the activity. And again, as you complete the activity, just put a Y or a done in the chat. I want to hear from at least one person. Just tell me what your reaction to the activity was, and as it's an extension of learning about ourselves in this quest for financial resilience. Go for it.
I'd say it's inspiring because a lot of the changes and stuff I've made have actually shown up. So, that's good.
That's good. That's good. So what was your dominant characteristic?
I actually have multiples. Let me pull it back up one more time. So it's security, planning, and spontaneous would be the third right there. So my dominant one would probably be security followed by planning and spontaneous. That's the order.
Great. So security is really important. So if you got your report and you just want me to give you a blow by blow, you want to be in that security range, that planning range. You want those to be your dominant characteristics. It's okay to be someone who's about giving. That's not a bad thing at all. But if you're the type of person that someone's always hitting you up and you're always giving them money, you need to talk about that relationship both internally within yourself. Are you becoming a sort of fail-safe for someone else and letting them just rawly depend on you and get worse at their own behaviors and attributes? Or are you someone who's giving and strengthening people just for the time being and then giving them the access to improve themselves so that they won't become reliant? So just make sure you have those fine lines. And then some giving is just general. But if you scored high on spontaneous, click that link, sign up for the coaching or email me. Let's follow up. It's okay. It's okay. Absolutely okay. All right. So let's wind down. Go back to our central presentation. Again, thank you guys so much for joining today. The MoneyHabitudes exercise, it gets into emotional self-awareness. It gets into how we are with money. And that obviously the way the CEO of MoneyHabitudes' name is Sybil Solomon. She's actually joined me on a few occasions over the COVID era that we've all been subjected to. And she has shared on the power of the exercise and the activity and the takeaways, and ultimately how you can course correct just by learning and being more self-aware of those emotional traits. All right, let's do this closing flare. You with me? All right, so the challenge that we're all confronted with in the COVID-19 era, the economic desperation, how I framed it here. Unemployment has exceeded 40 million over the last several months, and you may have friends and family members or a spouse even who's been affected by this. So I don't want to for a second underestimate the great ways that, you know, when it comes to money, just because you might have a job and you might be employed, you might be suffering, you might be straining because you're holding up someone else. And we got to talk about that. At least 16.2 million people lost their health care throughout the coronavirus episode. 40% of people in households earning less than $40,000 lost a job in March alone, right? And you know the cascading effect that's had over the subsequent months. We've already discussed budgeting, savings we've gotten to, but did you know that 5 million ex-offenders nationwide are unemployed now? Think about what the prospects of that mean. And you already know that there's a certain high percentage of ex-offenders who become repeat offenders and re-entered into the criminal justice system. So employment is very key during this time. And so when you're focusing on your voting, when you're focusing on issues to care about, make sure you know, you're pitching in where you can, whether that's intellectually or philanthropically, on initiatives like that, or even just learning about things sometimes, giving it an audience can give it the oxygen it needs to create change in a community. 42.4% of working Americans make less than $15 per hour. That's a huge notion because in several states this election cycle, of course, minimum wage is on the ballot, and different jurisdictions. 21% of married Social Security recipients and 43% of single recipients age 65 and older depend on Social Security for 90% of their income now that COVID has taken place. And the list goes on and on, right? So I really want, and the veterans are included in that number as well. 7% of veterans have incomes below the poverty level, and 29% of veterans are disabled as well. So there's a lot of caring to do and a lot of carrying to do. Let's get to financial resilience now that we've all been subjected to these forces. The number one sign of having to be financially resilient is a disconnect. So we're not even going to get to lanes 2 or 3. We may have family members who've gotten to that point, but let's focus on even just the first step, the first sign. And we've all, each of you on this Zoomcast has experienced a little bit of disconnect over the last several months. It's fundamental. It's in the pie. It's what's in store for us. So the disconnect has happened with having to move into a remote work footing and setting. The disconnect has happened because of changes to the economic system of the country. The disconnect has happened because of actual physical death, and the mortality rate in America has increased. And this year alone, we've seen more Americans die than any previous year up until this point, and like since the Vietnam War or something. I mean, it's been so many years since this many Americans have been affected by something. So it's a different type of experience we're having at the national level, and even at the local level, Prince George's County being one of the places and destinations for that strain and strife. Here's some characteristics of that stress, and this has been delineated in other sessions, so I'm not going to belabor this, but at the personal level, you can feel confused and overwhelmed, no matter if you have a PhD or if you teach psychology or if you're a counselor or whatever you are. And so we know that all types of people, professionals, and the rest have experienced some levels of feeling overwhelmed, loss of possibility, that notion of invincibility that people have felt. They may not feel that as much anymore. There's physical and mental fatigue. We have Zoom fatigue. And I'm going to stop in about how much time do I have here? All right, 2 minutes. We have 2 great minutes, so we'll get to what I want to say. But people's attention spans are different. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed your attention span? And work at it. Work at being your best self and being present. We're hearing a lot about being present. Dr. Joya talked about with the exercise, the dollar and the leaf, being present. So definitely focus on your decision making during this time, because this is the key part in behavior change, and this is the key part in financial resilience. This is probably my favorite, very favorite diagram throughout the COVID crisis. This was actually adapted from a 2006 work by Swarbrick, but it gets into the 8 points of wellness. And as you look at this sort of overlapping jumble of stuff and concepts, you find that financial wellness is on here. These are all interconnected and interdependent. And so as we think about how to be resilient, and of course you can follow up with the Financial Empowerment Center. I do a signature program where I just unpack this. And so you're welcome to attend those as well. And then circle of concern versus circle of control. Just very quickly, this is the area you control over here on the right. And over here on the left is the area most people, when they are at their worst and find blunders in their lives, get consumed with. They get consumed with the news. They get consumed with the political views of others. They get consumed with what other people think of them. They get consumed with celebrity lives and scandals and things like that. So be over on this side. Be focused on you. Give that space in your life for that. This was a prescription given by Mr. Ted Daniels, who's President and CEO of Society for Financial Education and Professional Development. One of the areas I'll highlight very quickly is where he talks about one way to damage your financial profile is by accruing unnecessary debt. Do not take out any new unnecessary debt and try to reduce your debt as much as possible during this time. And then finally, in closing, 4 walls plus one. We all have to take care of where we live, what we eat, our transportation to get to the places we need to go. And then of course, if you're on prescriptions, or right now is big time for hygiene and essential clothing products like masks, we don't want to give any of that up. And of course, communication, the very medium we're communicating on right now. So join us in the future for personal financial coaching and workshops. I hope today's session was very enlightening, helpful, slowed us down, helped us to focus on financial success and wellness. And I look forward to seeing you in a future follow-up. Thank you, Miss Audrey and Matthew, for the time. And again, my information should be in the chat. I'll try to post it again.
Thank you.
No problem. Any reflections before you go? Anybody want to give any reflections or have any quick questions? Please ask.
I was going to say, Heath, that it's a good idea to go over the chart, the circle of concern, definitely, so that just as one is being cautious with your finances, you're also conscious of your personal economy, like really focusing on what you really can control as much as possible. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course. And again, these areas are like very important. So if we look back at that, focus on where you're going. Try not to get COVID-19. Try to make sure you have stuff in your car, masks, gloves if you need them. I use a filter as well underneath my mask. We know that 3 layers are actually the best, the best combination to keep COVID away that way, and make sure your masks don't drop beneath your nose, right? We want to make sure our masks are over our nose and under our chin, mask etiquette and such. But I'm really happy that so many people chose this program. Sometimes you do these, you never know how many people are going to show up. And I'm really pleased that you all came out. Anyone else though, since we still have a few people on, anyone else want to tell us what you gleaned from this, or what questions you still have lingering in yourself, or how to connect any of the activities through that progression from the mindfulness session, the MoneyHabitudes, to things like the circle of control and the spheres of wellness?
I would like to say something about the circle of, I think it was the next one. Yeah, concern and control. Okay. Because I experienced a circle of concern last year because of some personal issues. But this year, I'm in the circle of control. So when the pandemic happened, I did move back and forth, but I felt like I'm still in a better situation because I'd learned to take control. Like I ended up there. But every time I went back to the news, I knew there at some point I needed to stop there. So I think somewhere I'm in between, but at least identifying myself was something that I did was very important.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing that. And sometimes we can. I love an India RE song where there's an India RE song. She talks about coming back to the middle. Some of you may know that song as well. And that song, I kid you not, it plays in my head when I know that I'm reaching, or I'm overextended in a certain way, or I'm off balance, right? There should be something, just like your inner ear operates to tell you whether or not you're falling over out of your chair or not. Your inner ear for your soul has to be activated. You have to be in touch with yourself to know when you're out of control, when you're off balance, when you're subject to loss, failure, decline. Again, this first graphic here, to me, this is also presently when I work with people. Number one, this plays in my mind constantly about the stories I see in the news, individuals I see talked about in news stories, even on TV shows now. There's some great shows, but one show that I recommend, if I can recommend a Netflix show, would be The Queen's Gambit. It's a new show on Netflix, and you can literally see the characters go through this complex of steps: disconnect, impairment, decline. When you watch that, if you watch it with this paradigm in mind, you're going to say, wow. You're going to sit there and go, wow. Because all of the transition stresses, everyone experiences this. But the way to be more, as we talked about a moment ago, more in control of it is to be enriching yourself, having these contributions daily, finding the space to give yourself. And when it comes to, like, I'm sure many of you probably never done a money mindfulness meditation and with the dollar and the leaf exercise. I suggest we go back and reconsider like what we experienced in that. I didn't give, normally that program takes 90 minutes to do. That program takes 90 minutes to unpack properly. We gave it maybe 15 minutes. So what we do in that activity, and I will be bringing that back this fall, next month in November. And if you have time, I suggest you join it because there are more thoughts. The second time you do it, it's going to gin up some more thoughts about what the possibilities were. I mean, I'm wrapping up. I'm almost done, folks. Y'all don't even have to be on right now. But this leaf, when I looked at this leaf in particular, I see that this leaf tells a story. And it tells the story of a lifetime, right? It's gouged. Maybe a caterpillar came and ate here. Maybe a butterfly came here. Maybe it began to decay already, and so there are holes. And so this leaf, which was once probably bourgeoning and beautiful and strong, sturdy, is a little more flappy and clumsy and such. We can't be that way with our money. We got to go back over our financial self and find, where are those holes? Where are those gouges, areas where it just gouged out? And the reason why we immediately transitioned into the MoneyHabitudes exercise was to help you demonstrate to yourself, hey, is my story like the leaf I held? Is that what I look like? Do I have these blotches, these areas where over the last 20 years of my life where I've just thrown money away or not properly invested it? I'll tell you a quick story and I'll be quiet. So many of you know that I taught all over the world, that I've taught on the front lines of the war on terror in Iraq, that I've taught in Vietnam, I've taught in Palestine and the West Bank, post-earthquake Haiti right after the earthquake there in 2011, or 2010. But in all of that journey, I managed to come up with a net gain of money. And some of the areas I taught in, I got paid crumbs and I lived off of that money. And I still was able to return from a place like Vietnam where I was paid just $200 a month. It might have been $150 to start. And I lived off of the money. And I still came home with over $230 saved. And it was important to me, and this was years ago, but it was important to me to demonstrate sort of for myself, what does good financial money management look like? And this was well before I was an accredited and certified financial counselor. This was at a time when I was just merely trying to survive like most people. But in that journey, I learned quite a bit about maintenance of money, about keeping up with things, and about being responsible to my future. And, you know, for me, when I think about what I came back home with, you know, it wasn't a whole lot, but it was something. And I got better at each journey, each destination I went to. And when I came back from Iraq, after doing more than a year of time, I taught in Baghdad, I taught in the north as well. I came back with over $10,000 in cash. I came back on the plane, and when you come back with 10,000 or more, or over 10,000, you have to let customs know, right? Because they want to tax that money, they have to. And at the same time I'm flying back on that plane from Iraq, guess what Netflix stock was trading at? That same time. Netflix stock was trading at $7 a share. Now, I don't know about you, but that was 2009. I'm on that plane flying back. What did Netflix close at today? So I'm asking Google right now what Netflix closed at today. What did Netflix close at today?
Netflix closed up 0.14% today at $488.93.
So Netflix closed today at $488.93. Now, to give you some perspective, if I came home and I put that, and I had a little more than 10,000, let's say I put just 10,000. I bought $10,000 worth of shares of Netflix at $7 a share, right? What would that have done? Now, what would that look like right now? Well, I would have over $500,000. We probably wouldn't even be talking, right? So that just goes to show the power of being aware. And even though I had, you know, little habits like trying to save and put my crumbs together to make three, you know, if I had a financial empowerment center in my career, in my early career or college life, and I went to Prince George's Community College for a year. If I had a place like this and I found a way to leverage it or talk to whoever was running it, hey, what can I work on? What do I need to know? You realize that I could have come home looking a lot differently now than I did. So that's just, you know, a parting story, but that speaks to awareness, that speaks to knowing yourself and being able to plan your money and invest your money. So I'm going to close now. I want to thank those who stayed on for that. If this spoke to you, you know, just write up a little synopsis in the chat, and I'll close the chat or the program in the next 2 minutes. But what spoke to you from today's program? Just sum it up for yourself. And if you need a prompt, the prompt would be, I learned ... or what I can do now is ... And if you're interested in this evening's program on Turn Yourself into a Business, just email me and I'll give you the rest of the information to log in there in the next hour and 15 minutes. But thanks for joining, folks.
Thanks, great session.
Thank you, Benita. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Maxine. You're welcome, Angela. Hey, Angela.
Hey, thanks, Keith. He's good seeing
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome, Wendell.
Okay, it's always
And
good seeing you, man.
Congratulations on your Cowboys win.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we'll return the favor next century, man.
All right.
I want you to take care of yourself, man.
Oh, absolutely. I'll do my best.
Okay, are you there on any day of the week?
I am here, probably, as Victoria would tell you, too much.
Oh,
I work around the clock. I work even on, I try to be available even on Saturdays for folks. So
okay.
if it takes leveraging a Saturday to accomplish what you need to accomplish, let me know.
Okay.
And I'll set aside time to do that, because sometimes even still Saturdays are people's best day.
Okay, I'll be there on this Thursday, which is tomorrow, man. I mean Thursday, yeah. So if you have it on Thursday, man, you know, I'm in there a couple of times a month. So I'll be checking on you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, but then I'll reach out to you if I need any financial help, man. But I'm pretty good right now.
That's good. That's good. Well, again, privileged to serve, privileged to speak. And please, you all keep the comments in the chat flowing, what you learned today or what you're going to do, what you resolve to do. It will make a difference in your brain to articulate some resolution to today.
Oh, I couldn't, it didn't, my browser wouldn't support that link, so I had to switch to another browser. By that time, the thing was over. So
I'll follow up with you. I think Matthew Lloyd is going to give me the information on who attended today. And for those who definitely attended, if you were not able to finish the intake form, I'll send you that link as well, because we offer free programming, and that's the only way we're able to offer free programming. Yes, Lynn.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
I just wanted to say thank you for your time and stay well, and I'll be in touch with you soon.
Awesome. No problem.
Appreciate everything that you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Heath. It's Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Just want to say thank you. Well done as always.
And to you as well.
I feel like your calendar is about to get booked. If it isn't already.
That's okay. Hey, that's okay. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. But thank you, though. Thank you for your leadership. I know that you're charged with something now yourself, and you're doing well with that. So
thank you. I'll be reaching out to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Heath. You the man.
Hey, Marshall, congratulations on your achievement.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mark,
continue to serve.
After the first time I seen you sitting down, man, since I've known you.
Hey, right. You
well deserved, man.
Somebody need to sit my butt down.
Yeah, but you know, we always passing like 2 ships in the night, man, and them hallways and around campus. Well-deserved honor, man. Well-deserved.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, boss.
All right.
All right, Matthew, I will be ready in probably 30 seconds to end the meeting. So thanks for your
problem.
Your time.
I just want to say thanks, Heath. Also, I thoroughly enjoyed this. And if you ever get a chance to do a Robinhood or a stash workshop, I definitely would love to attend. Marshall can attest. That's all we talk about now is investing in stocks through Robinhood and stash. So it's so much fun. And, you know, it's been a nice way to spend that money that I would have spent on getting my nails done, my hair done, buying lunch or paying for gas. Over the last 7 months, I haven't had to do those things. So I've been investing that money and it's paying off. So I encourage anyone listening, check out Robinhood or Stash as a really simple way to get started in the stock market.
Nice.
Take care.
All right now. All right. That will be all, unless there's anyone else with a comment or some sort of feedback. Anyone else? Janice, Arnold, Cynthia, Stanley, Adrian, Jeffrey, Chris, Cheryl.
Heath, I'll be talking to you, man.
Okay, Wendell. Thank you again.
Okay, bud. Take care.
All right.
Everyone take care.
Thanks, Wendell. And that'll be all, sir. Thanks, Matt.
No problem. Have a good day.
Okay.